What's up, you guys? Joe Dobby here. I am now a Deck Out Gaming affiliate. Use Joe Dobbs Deck Out at checkout. Deck Out Gaming has tons of singles for Pokemon, Dragon Ball Super, and Digimon TCG, as well as One Piece. They now buy list as well, so don't hesitate to reach out, and they got your back. Really high customer service ratings. Thank you guys, and yeah, let's get to the video. What's up, you guys? Joe Dobby here, back at it again with another video for you, and this is the final video rounding out my Nationals or Road to Nationals video. First off, I just want to say shout out to Core TCG for the amazing tournament, for being able to host a Nationals like that, of that scale. The convention center was awesome. All the judges, shout out to the judges, shout out RoboSushi, shout out Nightmare, shout out American Bash, shout out Burrito, shout out Pro Clutch, and all the judges really did an amazing job of just ensuring that, you know, people were doing the right thing and resolving things correctly. So shout out to everybody for the facilitation and the ease of kind of processing everybody and the event. And the organization of the side events were also really well done, and it was just an overall really great tournament. Congratulations to everybody that has won. Shout out to Primitive Kage for Team Ice Walls, 32 top, with Beelstar being the only Beelstar, and I think the only purple deck really in top 32, so that's such an amazing feat. And shout out to Avault for making top 16, if I'm not mistaken, with Black War Greymon X. So they're all really great players. You know, shout out to all the players in general who really made it. And that was amazing. That was just very amazing. Shout out to the commentators as well, Luis the Panda, DigiPanda, and of course Eggman for making a very educational, informative, and entertaining stream. So that was really great. And I hope that in the coming years, Digimon will just get even more and more popular as a TCG as we grow into a more competitive space in all of TCGs and card games. But that said, while everyone did a great job, I didn't do so well. So I placed, just to put it very quickly, 589th out of the 1,100 players. So I had an unfortunate record of 3-6. Which is not my worst record ever, but it is pretty bad for someone who has really put in the effort and time into practicing and just trying to learn what deck is best to take. And I did take away a lot of key learnings. I took Mastamon, and it was George's style Mastamon. Shout out to George. And you know, over the last 2 weeks of testing, this was kind of like crammed testing for this Mastamon build, because I really gave up on it until I saw George's list, and I really intensely practiced. I even took a few locals with it, took it to some tournaments, placed first, undefeated, etc. sometimes with Mastamon over the course of like leading up to Nationals. But you know, the thing about Mastamon is, you know, at a local level where it's only 4 or 5 rounds, sure, you can kind of get there, but in a 9-round event where everyone is playing either Black War Greymon or Grandis or Metal Garurumon X or Crossheart, you're gonna be in for some challenges if Mastamon does not give you kind of like the draws, or if the variance is just not in your favor. Simply because of the playstyle, right? Giving too much memory can be very punishing, so that's kind of what happened. Looking back, if I were to take Loop, if I could take Loop and do it again, I probably would have taken Loop to do it again, because my Loop list is fairly consistent. I'm actually able to see more rookies. I'm able to see more plays that make my opponent that make me not pass over too much memory. The hesitation to why I took Mastamon instead of Loop was really mainly because of Grandis Coagamon. So Grandis Coagamon is a huge deal for me, in a sense that, you know, I know that people will perform well against it, against Black War Greymon X when they use Grandis, and I was kind of worried about the increased presence of Grandis. Funny enough, I only ended up facing one Grandis Coagamon. You know, and as Mastamon, your win condition is you set up 3 blockers, don't give them enough memory to suspend 2 of them, and you're good to go. A Chaos Degrade or a Miraean Security just helps that win condition all the better. And I thought I had that in the bag, right? My Black War Greymon X matchup, I pretty much have practiced that matchup extensively. I was fairly confident in that matchup and with Mastemon, so I thought that was fine. Crossheart as well. Like, a lot of people are saying that Crossheart can be outed very well by, well, Mastemon can be defeated by Crossheart fairly easily. I disagree. Those were my 2 of the 3 wins of the entire event, so here we are. But the unfortunate part was, it was kind of a culmination of learning. Like, I learned quite a bit, right? So one thing that I learned is, you know, in 9 rounds, variance really starts to play a role. You start to see what your deck does in its best way and in its worst way, all in one event, right? A 4-rounder, 3-rounder, 5-rounder event doesn't necessarily, you know, showcase the trends in what your deck can do and what your deck really struggles with in one go. So it's like all different instances adding up to this, and in the course of the 9-round event, my deck was like losing steam. It sounds like it doesn't make sense, but I promise you, maybe I didn't pile shuffle. It's because I didn't pile shuffle the whole event, so that's probably it. But ultimately, like, my draws were not there. Despite trying to make the best play possible, my draws were not there. I would open okay, like I'd open with a rookie level 4 and whatnot, but I would draw into the same things over and over again, and it became really problematic. To kind of, because I just couldn't progress my board state because I was ultimately running out of draws, right? So it was quite a problem. But what made it even more difficult was the uphill battle in terms of my matchups. Round 1 and 2 were decks that I did not expect to see at all. I expected to see maybe like 10% of the player base using Metal Garurumon X, which could be a huge, like, that's 100 players, a little over, right? But so that's still a lot. That said, though, I just didn't expect to match up against, like, maybe at tops I'd match up against 1. I ended up matching up against 2 Metal Garurumon, both round 1 and round 2 in a row, and I took both those games to game 3. Like, I was piloting very, very well. I was ensuring that, you know, my recoveries were based off how many Chaos Degrades I've bottom decked or seen or trashed or used. You know, I was trying to recover and draw in a way that would try to get Chaos Degrade into my security or RNG it out, but at the end of the day, like, even in that scenario, Metal Garurumon's strength against Mastemon is that it can swing for multiple checks and unsuspend multiple times. So if you're not hitting Chaos Degrades or hitting my Miraes at least, it's pretty much a free matchup if I can't establish blockers in time. So it became game 3 for both, and I couldn't take it. The next 2 games were against Crossheart, and I took both games fairly well. I was pretty confident in that matchup, and I managed to win both games. And one of the biggest issues was really being 2-2 from that point. You know, sending out Psychmon, choking them to 1, having blockers. Once I've got a big blocker, it's very difficult for Crossheart to kind of beat me without Sunrise Buster, Cross 7, or just having more swings, right? So that was a thing that, you know, helped me and pushed me to pretty much winning both games. Especially bringing out Psychmon towards the end was huge in one of my games, because I put them to 2 with a Psychmon and they just didn't have the materials nor the ability to, you know, obviously to out the Psychmon without passing turn with Akari. That said, round 5 was Black War Grey X. And in this matchup, I was confident. I thought I had it. It was pretty good. But again, we are kind of faced with the Gaiomon side of the Black War Greymon X, that's where Mastemon kind of struggles a little bit. Ironically, Chaos Degrade is great in that regard, because the Gaiomon, you know, it'll swing, potentially hit a Chaos Degrade, and when they have less than ideal stack, they could potentially hit like my Death Xmon, which is 15k, and if they don't have the DP for it, they die, which is huge. But took that to game 3. It was very, very close, down to the wire at 1 security apiece, if I'm not mistaken. But Black War Greymon, game 3, once they got to the Gaio, it was just really, really quickly swinging through my security, and with nothing to punish and with very little memory, I was unable to defend myself and win the game. So a little bit difficult to kind of hard pill to swallow there, because I thought I was pretty confident in the Black War Grey X matchup, but I lost the only Black War Grey X matchup that I faced, so it was a little rough. Game 6 was against Max Tapera with Grandis Coagamon, so that was really cool. And had a good time, but unfortunately Grandis did what it did and I was unable to set up my blockers. That was really rough. Like Max will tell you, I drew Chaos Degrades consecutively one turn after the other. I actually showed him my hand towards the end and I just had all 4 Chaos Degrades in my hand. And in the game before that, I had like multiple level 5s that I just couldn't draw my way out, or out of the situations. And you're on a clock with Grandis. It's once they find the line, they just go all in, right? So once again, the multiple checks became an issue, which is why I think Black War Grey X is actually a more manageable matchup than any. So there's that, and lost to that. So next was actually Mirror. So it was Mastemon, and lost to that because once again, like I just couldn't draw well enough, and even my opponent was like, I'm sorry, you couldn't play the game. And I was like, it's okay, like it's variance. So, that was pretty much it. War Greymon X was very, very, very good match. But once again, multiple security checks and being able to keep turn just wins the game, right? So if I don't have any security threats, if I'm unable to really delete or get rid of War Grey X or any Digimon that he swings multiple checks in, I'm just unable to follow up and win the game. So that became an issue. And finally, it was D Brigade. D Brigade was my last game and last win of the night, of the day, and that was a very quick 2-0. I was just able to set up Mastemon very quickly, and all I did was slam my level 5s and my Angemons and Devimons. I just kept slamming them on the board because at that point I just couldn't. I couldn't really draw much, and to the point where my opponent played Iron Fisted Onslaught, I believe, and then just deleted my Mastemon, and then at that point I was just able to rebuild and pretty much seal the deal for both games. D Brigade, once I had the blockers, it was a very workable matchup. So 3-6, kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. Still very happy that I was there. I actually managed to vibe and see everybody that I had wanted to see, or almost everybody that I had wanted to see, all the friends that I've made through the game. And I'm just thankful that we have such an amazing Digimon community that, we were all able to have a good time. The vibes were incredibly positive, and, shout out to Digimon, shout out to Bandai for having the fan meetup as well throughout that weekend. That was so amazing. I loved all the photos that I took, the videos that I took. Digimon Seekers, that little mini kind of exhibit was there as well, and it was just a great time. I actually got my Omnimons and Analog Youths signed by none other than Kenji Watanabe, so I am absolutely thankful for that. I'm going to be framing my 1 copy of Digimon World 1 with the Analog Youth signed, and just having that ready to go, so that's pretty awesome. Day 2, Max and True Pain Gaming and myself, we actually played against, we did a 3v3 team event where it was 5 hard rounds, and it was best of 1 for each player. And then, as a team, you need to win 2 out of your 3 games to call it a win, right? It's best of 3, 1 win per player of the team. So a very dramatic turn of events. Me and Max were pretty much winning the first 4 rounds with our decks. It was Grandis and I was playing Loop, and True Pain Gaming was playing Crossheart. And for the first 4 rounds or 4 rounds, we were pretty much just winning. And unfortunately, Wyatt was just not having. He was just kind of struggling. True Pain Gaming was kind of struggling a little bit. But in the final round, True Pain came so clutch because I absolutely just opened the worst. Like, I had like 3 Revive from Darknesses, a Death Exmon, and a Minervamon, and I was just like, I straight up whispered into True Pain Gaming's ear. I was like, dude, my game is over. This is up to you and Max now. Like, not even before anyone's flipped an egg. I like looked at it. I was like, dude, like it's up to you and Max now. So I tried my best. I actually managed to stabilize for a little bit, but I was facing a mirror that does not run the Cerberus package, and I'm actually very interested in that list. So I'm gonna try and build my own. But long story short, Max does what Grandis does and just pretty much swept the tournament and kept winning for us. And then finally, True Pain came in absolutely clutch against Wargrey X, or Black Wargrey X, and we managed to place 3rd. So that was the vibe. Hanging out with Team Icewall was so much fun. It was absolutely amazing. I finally get to meet, you know, Primitive Kage, Ice Boy, Luis, Lunar, Antics, Tayfrey. You know, we finally all met up as friends and as teammates and managed to vibe out and hang out. But yeah, it was a great event. I'm so happy and so thankful. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Yeah, I hope you guys will stay tuned to my journey as I progress and kind of improve as a player. I'm hoping to top more events and hopefully make it back to nationals for next year. And yeah, thank you guys so much once again. I don't know if you followed my Twitter or saw my community post on YouTube, but I will be launching some fun decks in the pipeline for BT11. And once Beelzemon is out, I will pretty much... that will be my deck for BT12 competitive, and I will do everything I can to make that deck even stronger than what it has pretty much claimed or shown to be in Japan. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching again, and peace.